Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the New Media Show. My name is Todd Cochran. First, I want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee, to the show. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, Todd. It's great to be back on doing the show. It's
Yeah,
great.
and as I mentioned before we got going here, I'm feeling a little punky. I don't know. I told you I had a little heartburn going on, so I'm not having a heart attack. So those that may ask, but
It's just the natural ebbs and flows of being a human, I guess.
yeah, I think so. Maybe
Yes.
maybe being old too.
Well, older. Yes.
Yeah, I woke up
Though I
about
don't feel that old, though, Todd. I
yeah.
feel like I'm a 25-year-old ready to get going.
Yeah, I woke up about 2:30 and was like, "Oh my god, I need Tums." I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I needed Tums. It was kind of
Oh
funny.
my goodness.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the ruminations of a stupid podcast host. So everyone, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. And wow, Rob, it's almost like I don't know where to start. There's some stuff that I just want to continue to talk about, but the audience is going to get tired of.
Right.
But it is what it is. So you're in a new background. What's the story with you? Where are you at?
I'm at my dad's house
Okay.
in Bellevue, and I'm in between going places, so I figured I'd hang out with my dad for a few days.
All right. We need to learn to get your head at the like 3/4 of the way in the frame. See, if you sit up and you use your full 10, your 6'10" or whatever you are, 7 feet tall height, you can get that giraffe look, but you're good.
That's right. The giraffe look. There you go.
Yeah, you just kind of, raise yourself up. Yes, Rick says, "Why are you so dark, Rob? Looks like you have the old Tom Snyder Tomorrow Show thing going." Well,
I do. It's just a dark background behind me. That's all.
all right. Well, definitely we could, if we got a green screen back there, we could put you in sunny Honolulu or something like that. Actually,
There you go.
I could almost key that at black. If we had time to have a little fun, I would do that right here on the TriCaster, key it, and we would put something behind you. But
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. I'd love to be in Hawaii or something.
yeah. So I just I'll be honest with you. Last week was, well, just business wise, I was slammed. I mean, I went home every night and just face planted. It's busy. Things are very busy.
Yeah, there's as usual, Todd. This is our normal conversation every week. Our week was busy in the podcasting area. That's true. There's just a lot of events going on. I know I'm just buried in planning events, trying to get to the meetings and trying to get deals done and all sorts. I mean, it's just it's a great time for the medium. I have to say. I mean,
right.
Just the fact that we're so busy is a good sign for the medium. I mean, both you and I.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of good stuff happening.
I think too is that if we're, and I think we're all competing for some of the same business, but at the same time, it's nice to see it all coming in. It's nice to see people are talking to a lot of people. I'm talking to, I mean, literally all across the country and sometimes in other countries as well.
Oh yeah.
And
and that's actually happening more and more too. I mean, there's more events going on around the world. Asia is getting involved. I think I saw some podcast awards coming out of, was it China or no, Japan? The Japan Podcast Awards. Todd, you have another competitor.
Hey, great, fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Japanese market is unique in itself, and and I don't know that much about it, but just knowing Japanese culture, it's definitely a different type of podcast.
Yeah, and it is different outside of the U.S. I mean, I would agree with you, Todd. Being up in Canada and then talking to people in Europe and Australia and stuff, there's a much stronger emphasis towards high-end, high-quality productions, and I think that just comes out of the media culture in those countries as well, which tends to be very, very high-quality storytelling, journalistic type content, and that seems to be the emphasis that everybody thinks is a quality podcast. Is the storytelling journalistic format, multi-track kind of productions and things like that. And I guess what I'm trying to encourage, when I'm looking at doing events abroad, is trying to encourage more, the indie producer side, not the highly produced side. So, and that's not to say that an individual podcast like what we do here, Todd, can't be high quality production. It's not the standard stuff that you would hear on the BBC or on CBC or some of these more public major radio broadcasting companies would typically produce.
Yeah, and I think too is the indie community is not as strong in some countries, and
exactly,
so
and I think it's just a matter of in some of the cultures around the world, like you said in Japan too. It's just it doesn't necessarily fit with the culture that an individual would go out and do something on their own. But I think that's starting to change. I'm hearing more around the world and other countries that there's more indie producers starting to start up.
So
go ahead.
So the question is the podcasting space fundamentally starting to transform even here in the United States?
Well, what do you think it's transforming to here in the U.S.? And I think that's been a little bit of a controversy over the last couple of weeks. I think if you see some of the discussions online around the separation and the professionalization, I guess, is potentially causing a split in the industry. And I just wonder about that. I mean, Todd, what are you hearing about stuff like that?
Well, you had took exception to some venture capitalist tweet, right. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that because you took it one way, I kind of took it another, but it's almost as if these conversations are going on behind it. Well, it's not even real behind the scenes; it's public. It's just if you're following the right streams of data. And people are talking about, hey, it's time to come in here and take this over.
Yeah.
And, and start to dominate it and bring in money. And I think a lot of indie podcasters have been worried about that for a while. I don't think it necessarily changes independent podcast creators here in the United States because that's 95% of the market. So
right.
I don't think we have anything to worry about, but it does, it just goes again. And I hate to harp on this, but it goes back to this thought process is, are we going to have more gatekeepers showing up and trying to,
own a piece of the medium, right?
Right.
And more and more think if they throw a bunch of money at it that they can capture some market potential in the future where, my worry, and I think my post on Facebook, if some people listening to this saw that, is really the fear around the growth and development of proprietary platforms and ones that aren't open or based on open standards.
Yeah.
And I think that's both of you and I's worry. I think as we talk about this topic as the medium becomes more professionalized, does that mean that we start giving up some of the openness that has been, available to us via open RSS, and I do worry that this whole privacy discussion is going to push us down a path towards more proprietary platforms, just because of the opt-in.
Well, I think that as the only advice I really have for independent podcasters out there, that if someone comes with a check, make sure it's a big check, and make sure that you have a lawyer review your contract and make sure that you maintain ownership of your show. And, if you're going to take the money, go big and go, and cash it quickly. I'm not against, if someone's coming in with some ideas and want to do some things, but we'll see what they do. It's, I think that the independent streak, though, I was trying to explain to our, we had some discussion. I got a new marketing director at Blueberry, and I was explaining to him the mindset, at least what I think is the mindset of most podcasters, is that, okay, so here we're doing this show. We work for our respective companies, but in essence, we are the GMs of this show. We're the general managers, and we are the talent, and we are the producers, and whatever other stupid titles we want to come up with, we wear one hat. And unlike a traditional media company where there is someone that says to a talent, and I shouldn't say piece of talent because that's how they treat some people sometimes. But anyway, a talent at let's say a radio station, they say, hey, you got to run this erectile dysfunction ad, and we don't care if you like it or not, and you're going to have to kind of do some sort of endorsement on this. And, maybe that person doesn't want to do that, but they have to because they're the talent and they've been told what to do by their boss. Whereas in podcasting, we all know that no one can tell us to do anything unless we want to, unless you're signed to a network and then you have to take whatever they shove down your throat. So, and the whole privacy thing, I'm starting to feel maybe I'm on the wrong side of this because more and more and more people are saying, we don't care. We don't care that our listeners are being tracked. And I don't want to be, and I'm jostling or, jesting here a little bit, but when you hear podcasters and reporters in the podcasting space saying, this is no big deal. This is not a problem. It can be, our listener data can be attributed. There's nothing illegal with that. And I think it's all about the interpretation and what lawyer you talk to. And some people don't care. Some people do not care that their listeners are being spied upon.
Well, it is true that if you've opted in to being tracked off of websites and stuff, people, I think, readily, just click the accept button if they want to get to content on a website or wherever. I think it's a common thing that people are doing now.
And but the attitude of some podcasters is that, hey, people know they're being tracked. They should just assume they're being tracked in podcasts.
Right.
That's the attitude. And
but then, Todd, we also have to face the reality that the EU and California are passing laws that are putting restrictions on this stuff too.
Well, they don't care about California. They say, oh, that doesn't apply. This IP tracking and stuff and attribution doesn't apply to the CCPA. And okay, until someone gets pissed off and files a lawsuit.
Right. I guess that's what it's going to take.
I don't know if I talked about it on the last show, but, and again, I don't want to harp on this because maybe people are getting sick of me talking about it, but let's say you're LGBTQ plus and you haven't come out yet. Let's say that you're listening to a LGBTQ show, and then there's an ad on that show that is attributed to you, and then they know, that advertiser now knows that you listen to LGBTQ content and you should be marketed as such. And let's say you're not out. And all of a sudden you start getting mailings to your home address with your family that maybe, and all of a sudden you're running into this crisis situation. That's an extreme.
Right.
But what if it's a sub 18? What if it's someone that's not an adult?
Right.
How do they, it's a little bit creepy to me. And there's true ramifications.
It's a slippery slope is what it is. I agree with you, Todd.
Or let's say, we're such a political divide in the country right now. Let's say you're listening to ultra conservative shows, and then you are then labeled as an ultra conservative, and then you get ready to go for a job, and that business sees in your whatever intelligence they use to collect information about employees, all of a sudden they find out, oh my God, this person's not going to fit our culture because we're left leaning or vice versa. We're right leaning, it could be either way.
And could if you even extend it out, could an employer get access to a list of keyword searches that an employee does, on Google?
So, again,
which is a whole other can of worms.
If we don't know where the data that's being collected is being sold to,
right?
If there's a statement that says we are not selling this information, well, maybe I feel a little better about that. But until it's explicitly said we're not selling and sharing,
right?
Just as an aside, this week we are I am now going to be executing a licensing agreement with a third-party measurement company. I just made that decision. We went through the legal work. We've looked at all the documents, and internally, Blueberry is going to go out, and if you so decide that you want to opt in for your listeners, that's going to be your choice. But we're going to blanket protect our customers and say, no, we don't, as a company, we don't agree to this. But if you as a podcaster want to do that, you will have to opt in if you know you can opt in. Right. And yet people are saying, poo-pooing, saying, oh, tell us the rest of the story. Well, go do your own work. Go do your own investigation. Go do and ask your own questions. Why do I have to be the asshole every time?
Yeah.
So,
good point.
We make an announcement that'll reassure our customers that we're worried about it. And my customers so far are saying yes. I had a call from a lady that was on another platform, and they're specifically moving off because the platform could not give them assurances that they were CCPA or GDPR compliant. And they asked the question, okay, are you? And they said yes. And they said, okay, let's see your policy document. Let's see. They could provide nothing. So it was lip service. And when they got asked deeper about that, the company couldn't come up with the goods. And so now, they're leaving because of that. And I'm not saying that most of the hosts, I think, are pretty good. I think most of them are out there and have a CCPA compliancy document and all that stuff. I think, most of them are fine, but I think there's a lot that just say they are and aren't necessarily, are you guys getting sick of us? Those of you that are watching, are you guys getting sick of us talking about this? Are you listening? Are you tired of it? If you are, please tell us. We'll stop talking about it. Because I just get the feeling there's a percentage of the audience that they're sick of it. They don't want to hear it. They'd rather not know.
Yeah, I think a lot of podcasters are probably more concerned about growing audience than privacy concerns, and they're interested in making more revenue from their efforts in the podcasting space, and if attribution and tracking and all this stuff can potentially generate more revenue for some of these podcasters, they're probably not as concerned about it. That's probably the truth and the reality of a certain percentage of podcasters.
There's a new company that just made an announcement yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Where did I dump this? Got it in a Slack channel. Where did I put it? It was on some news release that came out that talked about a company that's their thing. That's how they're going to do business. They publicly said, we're doing, and this is somebody new.
Right.
We're going to do attribution. And where the heck did I dump that at? I'm looking for it here. I'll find it.
So, Todd, I don't think that we're on the wrong side of this issue. I just think that maybe the world has moved beyond being worried about tracking. I still think that we are taking the right position on this, but maybe there's just enough people out there that just don't care anymore because they figure they're being tracked everywhere else in their lives, on their mobile phones and all this stuff that, what's one more place,
Right. Oh, here it is. No, not this. Oh, isn't that horrible? I had this. Maybe I linked it in the other. Oh, I know where I put it. A secret Slack. Yeah, I can't find it. But anyway, it was in the news yesterday. It came out. It was, it's basically a company that says this is the dealio. This is what you have to, this is what we're going to be doing. And it was in one of the newsletters, one of the 3 or 4 newsletters we can now get in our inbox, that they're starting up and they're going to do advertising attribution as part of their model to sell advertising into podcasts. So, you know, so
yeah, I saw that the Endeavor Audio folks
that's who it was.
Laid off all of their.
Oh no, yeah, they laid off.
Yeah, all of their advertising sales team internal to the company. So my assumption, what that means, is that they opted into working with a third party company to do all their ad sales, which is probably a less risky direction to go for them.
I'm sure a cheaper
cost side, right?
Much cheaper too.
Right.
Yeah,
and I guess there was a podcasting event that happened in France, Paris, France. The European Radio Show.
Yep.
I guess happened Pod Village. I guess James Cridlin was there, and I mean, more and more of these events popping up, in other places around the world, and it's good to see.
Yeah,
that's the first event that I've heard about in Paris. But as you can see, it's a European radio show. So, you look at Europe and you look at the other countries, and they're still very heavily, focused on radio.
Yeah.
Podcasting is just kind of like something new still to a lot of these markets. It's, I don't know how big it's going to get in the future, but it does seem to be growing, and there's more interest. I know James was saying that there was good turnout. They had panels and discussions on podcasting and stuff at this event, and so it's just a sign of what's happening.
So here's the article, and I want to thank Tom Webster and Facebook for dropping it in here. And Rick says, going back to the privacy thing, it wouldn't be a stretch to buy personal info based on listener data. He says, and Rick goes on to say, just because it's shrugged off or accepted by podcasters and the public doesn't make it any less disconcerting.
Right.
So here's what Intercom said. And again, I have to read between the lines here because I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, but they said, Intercom, a leading media and entertainment company and one of the 2 largest radio broadcasters in the United States, and Claritas, a data-driven marketing company that helps marketers find their best prospects, improve marketing execution, and deliver superior ROI, announced a partnership to deliver effective marketing campaign measurement capabilities for podcasts and streaming audio. This collaboration will enable advertisers to measure attribution and accurately determine the portions of their campaign that contributed to a purchase, store visit, or app download. They say podcasting is a critical and exciting business segment with exponential growth opportunity, said Ken Legna, Executive Vice President of Digital Sales at Intercom. We are thrilled to partner with Claritas, integrate their measurement technology capabilities into our existing radio and digital audio attribution suite. These new tools help us fill a critical gap in the industry and allows us the ability to offer clients the opportunity to accurately measure ROI for podcasts and other digital campaigns. Going on here, working with Intercom is a game changer for Claritas. One of Claritas' big goals is to offer our clients new and effective measurement attribution models to help truly calculate ROI, said Matt Drengler, Vice President of Business Development. With podcasting taking off so aggressively and continued growth across all digital channels, we see our partnership with Intercom's major strategic win, blah, 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 blah. And through the strategic acquisition of Cadence 13 and Pineapple Street Media, Intercom has been one of the country's top 3 podcasters and leading creators, distributors, and sellers of top-rated podcast content. So what is Claritas doing? So you're going to have to go and look at Claritas capabilities. And there is all kinds of little supporting documentations talking about capabilities and optimization of target. So the game's changing.
Yeah.
And maybe we're too old, Rob. Maybe we're thinking old. Maybe we need to get in this attribution game. If it's going to bring in some more dollars, right?
I don't know. Is it? I guess that's an interesting question. I mean, does it mean that the purse strings at these big brands is going to open up? Does it mean that CPMs are going to go up? And are any of the apps, Pocket Cast or anything, I mean, going to support it? right, opt in.
Well,
and why should they?
there is
And
no,
why should they?
there is, again, Rob, there is no opt-in. They're doing this now without opt-in. Let's be clear.
Right.
So this is happening today, not just with this new announcement by Intercom and Claritas. This is happening today with other podcast measurement companies who are doing attribution data for
Right.
podcast ad campaign. Does it go
Right.
beyond that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would hope not.
It's a slippery slope. We can go a long ways in this area around user data. There's where does it, is it what we all want?
I've got a team member that's worked in New York for 30 years. He used to be at Group M, in one of their holding companies, and he knows all about this, and him and I've talked in detail about that. I've been in meetings before where I've sat down and they're like, "What's your IP?" I tell my IP, and they punch it into their system, and guess what? Here's this profile and a name. I've been in demos in New York City and seen that. So when people tell me that IP data is not personally identifiable, I laugh because it absolutely, okay, they say it's not, but I have seen otherwise.
Hey, Todd, I think I'm frozen. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your face is frozen.
Right. Here, let me dial out and log back in.
And it is kind of, you got this kind of sad look too. It's kind of.
Yeah, right. It's a sad topic that we're talking about here. So
everyone that's on the video stream while Rob is dialing out, you can. Oh my God, that's funny. Let me take a screen capture here of that. Oh shoot, I missed it.
I much rather prefer the smile on here, Todd. Oh, there you go.
Oh, that was hilarious, dude.
Much better.
Yeah, it's much better because you had this almost like forlorn puppy dog look. Oh man, I have to go back. I'll have to go back and use that for the screen cap for the show notes page.
Right.
Oh,
we talked about depressing subjects on the show this week.
It is depressing. It sucks. Let's see what else is in the news.
Right. I know. We don't want to talk about this anymore.
Oh man.
No, it's just, it's part of the changing landscape, and I think, it's been around, banner advertising and other forms of advertising for a long time. So I guess it's not surprising that there's pressure in this area to do this kind of stuff. So
I'd love to hear Tom weigh on this. If you're here, Tom, what do you think about advertising attribution and the slippery slope that could be contained from there forward? What's your thought? Are we two old goats and we need just like to get with the program and be a corporate shills and just chase the money?
Well, I guess, I don't know, Todd. This has been an issue in the digital media space as long as I can remember.
Not for podcasting.
No, not specifically with podcasting. Though I think some people were doing it, and some people didn't know they were doing it. I think it's been around the podcasting space for a long time. It's just, did everybody know that it was going on?
Right. Well, and another thing too is I think that we've moved beyond. You notice how there's no more. Here's one thing that the IAB did solve: we're not being asked stupid stats questions anymore. There's not these, So we've gotten. Here's the funny part: we've gotten beyond the accuracy question. That's not even being asked anymore.
Right.
So doesn't Blueberry set a cookie in my browser? Yes, we do. But we don't take that data and we use that for helping you stay in our system. But we're not tracking you. It's not this. This is not what we're talking about.
Right.
So, but yeah, there is a form of tracking there. True. That's true.
Right. I mean, we do track a certain level of listener data, right, on all of our platforms per the IAB stuff,
Right.
but it's not personally attributable
No,
per
it's not
se
personally
to
attributable.
actions and
No.
purchases and more personal information. That's
Tom,
the big difference.
Tom can also block the cookies at Blueberry, and he'll have to log in every time he comes to the website. He won't be able to log into the dash. He won't be automatically logged into the dashboard. So he can block cookies. He's got that option, and some people are pretty aggressive with that on browsers these days.
Right.
But my cookie doesn't go to 25 different locations. It is semantic, but you're opting. You have the ability to do that. Listeners don't have the ability to block anything.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe is it semantic?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, did you follow this discussion that happened? I think it was last week, late last week, whatever, about Apple versus Spotify, or did we talk about that?
I think we talked
on the show
about
last week. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we won't have to go over that again.
So Tom says, Rick, and this is true. Rick says the difference with a cookie is could easily be deleted or cleared out in a browser. Other stuff is outside of the user's control. Tom says, yep, tech savvy people do, sure, but non-tech savvy people don't. That's right. They don't delete cookies per se. They don't clear their browser cache. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm also not selling that information, and I'm not tracking that person over to Amazon, and I'm not tracking them when they, if someone goes to GoDaddy, GoDaddy's probably setting a cookie on their page.
Right.
You click on an ad link, that is definitely tracked because they send, someone comes in there 10 days later, they will know that it's the same person. So that is AK attribution. So that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So there's a level of it. But so, maybe it's just, maybe it's overreaction on my part.
Well, then it would be an overreaction on the part of Libsyn and others in the medium that are taking a specific stand on this. I think it's those that are pushing against it and those that are fully embracing it. So that's kind of what's happening in the industry right now. There's definitely a split.
Yeah, but Tom's right. He says a question what these tracking companies can actually do that isn't blockable under terms of service. That is if you have we're going after a licensing agreement. So we will have a licensing agreement with a third party that basically says you will not track the IP data of our hosting customers to a advertiser unless that podcaster specifically opts in
for that
in your system.
Right.
And that's the individual podcaster's choice. And that's fine. But by default, we're not going to say, I'm not going to give carte blanche saying, because it's not really being, and I don't know the process. I don't know if the podcasters are always opting into this. I don't know if they already know. And in one use case, I know that the podcaster was asked to do this by the actual advertiser. So the advertiser the podcaster would have had to agree. So the podcaster, in a sense, has given permission for his listeners to be attributed back to the company doing the advertising. Mm-hmm. So it's up to that individual podcast. I'm cool with that. They want to do that. That's fine. That's their choice. It's their show.
Right. So. Hey Todd, did you see this this new technology that came out of, or it actually was announced in Paris just the last day or so, called Pod Install?
Yeah, we played with it I had 2 or 3 folks playing with it. It doesn't really work good on iOS. It's more of an Android.
Okay.
I tried to get it to work on iOS. I couldn't get it to work on iOS. And one of the guys finally got it to work on Android. It's an interesting concept for sure. And there's more of this type of stuff going on. So it's it has potential.
It's probably based on a browser, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. And I think we're going to see more of this kind of stuff here in the future as the app world and the web browser world converge on each other. I think eventually, I don't know how many years in the future, we're going to have one ecosystem for all content and apps on our mobile devices. It's not going to be a kind of a bifurcated thing. Some things in browsers and some things in apps. I think it's going to be a one. And I'm not sure what the implications of that is, Todd, for owning your brand, like you've been saying, or owning. Maybe all of us wind up getting our own apps of sorts that does all the same things that a website does, as well as an app. Like a native app.
I think that certain shows will have a number of people in their audience that will want to use a native app. But
right.
I think
these could have potentially all the same capabilities of a native app, but they would be browser based.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I think at this point, if it's available, it goes back to that adage I've been saying for years. I don't care how they listen, as long as they listen. If they get it this way, it's cool. I don't. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it follows everything I think is good in podcasting. The more opportunities we give people to listen or find our content, or if you've got
or share a link to it or something like that, right? I mean, in some ways, this is the same model that Google Podcast is trying to go after, right?
Sure.
It's not really a first-party native app.
It's kind of almost a duplicate. I actually thought it was duplicating what Google
Google's
Podcast,
doing. Yeah. But I think Google's thinking towards the future, right, of how we're going to get access to this content, and it's not going to be this, going to a website or going to a mobile app. It's going to be just one thing on your mobile device.
There's a lot of people today that don't ever go to a website. They go to Spotify or they go to Pocket Cast, and that's where they get their podcast. And
so I would imagine like a WordPress eventually will just, it's been moving this direction for years with, like having it's had a little bit of a different kind of web experience when you pull it up in a web browser versus like on a desktop experience. I think I think those worlds are going to collide even more.
Well, everything we're designing now is mobile first.
Right.
So, anyone that sees
any of our moving that way.
Yeah. Anyone that sees any of our pages, anything that we've built recently, it's all going to it in a mobile. It's mobile optimized first, a desktop is second.
Right.
So that's just that you have to. If you don't do that now, you're going to get it's almost like your ranking in Google.com is going to drop too.
And more, you have to be on a secure server with your media file links and this is another one of those things that kind of pushes out. I think the days of kind of self-hosting are kind of coming to a close.
I don't know.
It feels like that the requirements of Google and stuff like that are requiring secure servers and more technical capabilities than a typical self-host has. And I know that there's self-hosts out there, like even the CDC hosts all of their podcasts on their own servers, and they track podcasts by hits. So you start thinking about those that are out there using their own servers to host this stuff, and they're not using a back-end tools like Blueberry or Libsyn or any of those that are fully embracing IEB v2, and they're trying to track their downloads based on just raw server log files. They're living in a disadvantaged situation when it comes to ad sales.
Well, maybe their goal isn't to do ad sales. Maybe it's just to deliver media.
Well, it isn't. You're exactly right. So, like the CDC doesn't care about advertising, right? So, but you would think that they would care about accurate measurement of their audience.
Yeah, we get a lot of people that move largely because they want to know the accuracy. They have to provide reporting back to their, they're spending money.
Right.
So, the companies or the groups or the organizations want to know what the numbers are. Matter of fact,
it could be like we've seen, Todd. It could be those hits are pretty high.
Yeah. Hits. Yeah. If you
no, that's the measurement terminology that I'm hearing.
Well,
around podcasting,
they got a big shock coming.
I know exactly. That's what I try and tell them. I say, well, you can probably maybe take that number down like 80%,
80, 85.
Right.
Yeah.
And you may get close to what your real audience is.
And when you tell them that, they don't like to hear that.
No, they don't, because I mean, if they're producing podcasts and they're saying, well, I get millions of hits, that sounds pretty good to the bosses upstairs.
I have a chart when someone calls me and says, we're moving from here to here. I say, well, your stats are going to go down X%. I just tell them straight up. I said, well, I hate to tell you this, you're going to be in for a little sticker shock. And they're like, why is that? I'm like, well, I just can't go into the data too much, but I go into IAB certified, blah 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 blah. Do a 30-second pitch, and then I'm like, they're not, and we know what the numbers are. We've done AB, and your numbers are going to drop this much, and that way, at least then when we move them. This has been shared. This has been shared in your email, and my support guys are not getting what has happened to my show.
Yeah, what the heck happened, right? Yeah.
Rick hit counts are so 2004,
right?
Because when we were
first, the numbers are so high, Todd. I'm excited.
Well, Rob, I took I went back and looked at the script we were using in 2004, 2005 before we built anything. And it was done by, it was one of the tech podcast guys. Who built that script that would parse an Apache log file? I apologize if he's out there and listening, but when I went and looked at that, it was purely a hit counter. There was, and I thought
that's what we all had back then.
Right. And when I thought, I've told the story of like thinking I had 45,000 listeners and, and was really, really excited. And it was probably 5,000, but that was the only count we had at the time. And we were really there was no filtering it, and there was no bot looks. There was, so actually, and it reminds me of the conversation when we formed Blueberry and I handed this code over to Angelo. He says, this is crap. He says, and this is where the whole conversation started about, you got bots in there. It's like, sorry, you're in for some, basically Angelo didn't say sticker shock, but he says you're in for some sticker shock. Yeah,
and I really wonder if the podcasting medium would have taken off as fast if we would have actually had accurate measurement, right? And I think a lot of people got really excited by the really high numbers in the early days because they didn't know any better.
And we were billing those high numbers. And what was shocking was people were happy with those numbers. Right. So when it was like 85% inflated,
Right.
Oh my!
And if we had, like I said, if we had the numbers we have now back in 2004 or 2005, think about each of our shows would have had like 200 listeners,
right?
Or whatever it was, right? So, yeah.
Oh yeah. So, and I think we were measuring, and of course we didn't have that. We didn't give that tool out to anybody. So I was measuring probably for how long? 9 months, maybe. 9 to 12 months using that tool to report back to GoDaddy, Citrix GoToMeeting, all those early ad deals. That was those are how we were and the guys were running them on their own servers. They were sending me the report log. I wasn't even pulling their log data at the time. They were running them themselves.
Yep. I was doing the same thing. I was pulling server logs myself and just counting
hits.
I think it was Google Analytics. I think was around back then.
Yeah.
Right.
But I wasn't. It was probably. I don't think Google Analytics was around yet, but I think we were using. It was one of those snap-ins that you can put on it's one of those stats things you can run on any server.
like a plugin on WordPress or something?
Yeah, no, it was some, if you're running servers, they're still available today. You can get something that is, kind of a web statistics thing, and it's
Right.
baked into most web hosting plans. It's not Google Analytics, but yeah. So anyway, we weren't using those numbers, but we were definitely using numbers that, in retrospect, were not accurate in any shape or form.
No, that's right.
That was the wild, wild west.
Right.
And here's the thing. We sold millions of dollars in ads using that measurement system, and people were happy. Just think what the performance would have actually, if we'd had real data at that time.
I know. Right.
The cash registers would have just completely opened up because the performance was, 85% better than what it was.
Right. And the numbers were 85% lower than
right,
they were.
Right, 85% lower. So,
right. Yeah.
So, again, going back to the original crux here, having these conversations with people are like, you're going to see a little drop. Or sometimes, it'll be 2 or 3% or, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But the folks that get the biggest shock, the biggest sticker shock of the people come off the, how should I say it, the free platform.
Right. Hey, Todd, did you see that the cereal is for sale?
Yeah, or there might even being bought. Isn't that the Cereal team, not Cereal? I thought they had what's the company behind Cereal? Who produced that? Are they actually trying to?
I thought it was a public radio.
Yeah,
company.
Was it NPR or?
I think it was in Chicago, right? It was.
Well, let's use Google here. Who we should know this.
The same. I thought it was the same production company that produced This American Life.
Yeah, who produced Serial Podcast? Serial is an investigative journal podcast hosted by Sarah Coyne, narrated a nonfiction story of a multitude episodes.
Right.
The series is co-created and co-produced by Coyne and Julie Snyder, and developed by This American Life. Yes.
Right. And it looks like that the possible suitors are the New York Times. Interesting.
So, they're just going to buy the Serial series or the Serial name, and I don't know.
I guess it's all of the rights to it.
Okay.
It says the company behind the true hit true crime podcast Serial is exploring sale, according to a person familiar with it. It's the biggest brand on the market as the medium becomes increasingly popular. Well, what are they really getting there?
Yeah, it's producing collaboration with WEBZ Chicago. It comes from Serial Productions, which released S-Town in 2017 and has more projects in development. So that's what they're buying. It sounds like they're buying the production company and the rights, I guess, to Serial.
Right.
Seems a little late, but maybe they got more stuff in the mix.
In the hopper. Plus, also Apple. It looks like there's talk coming out about Apple's podcasting efforts around original podcasts. I guess they're gonna do some podcasts about TV shows. Yep. I'm not sure. Is Apple gonna become a television production company? I wonder.
Rob, where you been? Apple TV?
Maybe I haven't been paying attention to it.
Yes, Apple TV and some of their originals are going to have spin-off podcasts, which is very smart.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
So that is,
I don't buy shows on those platforms anyway, ever anymore.
Really? I buy almost all my movies on Apple TV. That's right.
Yeah, but movies or TV shows?
Oh, I don't buy TV shows ever.
So Apple is actually producing TV shows.
Yeah. I'll watch TV shows, but I don't buy how you can buy movie stuff. So.
Okay.
But I actually haven't been on Apple TV yet. I've been looking at, I'm stuck on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and
I
get pretty much what I need there, and Hulu.
Yeah.
Because aren't we supposed to be listening to podcasts 24 hours a day and not watching any TV?
Yes, you are, Todd. So, okay, it says Apple has been transitioned from selling other companies' movies and TV shows to producing its
Right,
own.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did they start doing that? Do you know?
Well, it's been
Todd?
well. Apple TV is, they just announced Apple TV this. We'll have to go and look when they actually introduced it. It was in the fall, but this has been in works for a long time. They've been working on, their whole original programming and getting
Right.
into this space
Right.
for a couple of years and trying to negotiate terms. And I don't think
Right.
that went real well. And they're now basically just trying to become a Netflix.
Right.
And maybe not
Okay.
as big a way, but they got enough cash. My God, they could.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they'll keep pushing on it if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So the whole podcasting effort is really
To support those new shows.
to support the new TV shows.
And there was a lot
Okay.
of rumor going out. It was basically, they talked about they were getting into podcasting. They were going to do some of their own original series, and everyone was speculating, what does that mean? Are they going to buy some shows, but this kind of maybe resolves that question that's out there. And of course, then there's been some announcements by Spotify, I think, that signed a production company, and so by the way, anyone's looking for a production company, Blueberry now has a production company, and we're doing real well with that. So if your network needs a production company, talk to me. It's shilling here.
So what's the scope of that, Todd? So when you say production company, are you coming in and just doing other people's projects and getting paid for that, or are you creating your own original stuff?
No original stuff. We're doing production for. It's definitely not an independent podcaster creator price product. So I'm just going to say that it's someone that needs efficiency of time.
Right.
You can look at the details at blueberrypro.com, and got a whole team over there that is doing audio production, and it's going well. As a matter of fact, one of the team members will be with us out at Evolution.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's coming up fast here too, Evolutions. So yeah. What is it? 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah, a couple weeks. Valentine's Day weekend.
There you go. Yeah, coming up.
And podcast right behind it too. So yeah, do we know what time? Have we been locked down for what we're doing at Podfest?
I believe it's the first day at lunchtime.
All right. And then you had a call with the gal for Evolutions on production. What do I need to bring? Because
I was thinking that you might want to bring your TriCaster Mini.
Oh, I have an easier way to do that. We can go live. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that requires an operator.
Live on video?
Yeah.
Live on video?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
I mean, if you have something that's easier, like a single camera.
Yeah.
Kind of webcam setup. That would work.
I'll probably go a little higher than a webcam, but no issue. Yeah. So okay.
what like a Blackmagic box or something like that in your Mac or something?
We'll see. I've got some solutions. I just need to know what to bring. So they're going to have an audio out for us, right?
Right. Out of the mixer.
Okay.
Right. And they're going to try and put that mixer as close to the stage as they can. So
that'll work. It's better.
So I thought that would help in your reach with the webcam or the camera.
I'm just going to have to make sure I have the right connectors to be able to plug all this in. So if we find out what type of connector I need or they're using,
it's probably going to be a XLR out to like a mini jack.
That'll work. Right. XLR out to mini jack is perfect.
Right.
All right.
Planning on the new media show today
to go
live productions.
Yeah.
Right. And
gosh, you're going to make me pack a box.
Sorry, Todd.
Up in the game here, right?
Yeah, we are, and we've got guests that we're going to have, and I still haven't booked guests for Podfest yet, but that's next on my list to do.
And it'll be nice. We'll be able to do live, and everything works out right. In the bandwidth holds, we'll be able to stream our event in California.
Yep. That's the plan. And if we can work it out with Dan to do it live on stage at Podcast Movement in Dallas, that's also on my agenda to do.
Also, podcast movement in Dallas. Speaker, you can submit speaker submissions now. That's open.
Right. And it would be great if we could do I think I'm going to talk to the NAB folks and see if we can get on the live stage with the NAB to do a new media show there too.
I just talked to them last week, and it's interesting what they've got planned for us that are exhibiting. They're going to have, I don't know, have you heard about this?
I've been talking off and on to Josh.
Yeah. So we're going to they're going to have like an hour. Well, there's 4 of us. So we get 20 minutes. So it's like an hour and a half or something. And we each get 20 minutes to interview a podcaster.
Right.
That
from
works from our service. It's not
platforms.
It's not an upfront. It's more of a talk about what they're doing, how they're, and then tied into some sort of business discussion. It's kind of interesting, and interesting. We've never done one of those before, so this is, and finding someone that's going to be at the show, and
getting them there, right?
Yeah,
somehow, too. Yeah.
We think we found a Latina that's in Las Vegas that's doing a show, and it kind of fits everything we want to do there. So it's be interesting for NAB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if we can get on the live stage, then people can see what's going on there, and that may be our only opportunity to have like a panel discussion at the NAB too.
Right. Yeah, because I don't think anything is scheduled in that podcaster track to be like that.
Not this year.
And it's on Wednesday. The podcasting track is on Wednesday this year, the last day of the show, I think. Let me look at NAB 2020. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Wednesday's almost the second day of the show, April 18th to the 22nd.
Yeah, I think it's the second day.
So 18th to April 18th to the 20. No. What?
It's the last day?
April 8th. Yeah, it's the last day. It's a Wednesday. The show starts this year on a Saturday. How is that working? That's really weird dates this year. 18th to the 20th. Exhibits will be open Sunday to Wednesday. Okay, so it is the last day of the show. Why did they do it? Why? That's a really weird exhibit date.
Yeah, to start on a Sunday, right?
Yeah, and that's usually the biggest day of the show. So probably the biggest day of the show will be Monday.
Probably, yeah.
Are they trying to get people not to go home on Friday? Because it'd always be a ghost town at that event on a Friday. So is their plan then that the slow day will be Sunday, then the majority of the show will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Huh.
I don't know.
It is really weird. Sunday is the new Monday. Okay, that's what's on there.
It's the new Monday.
Yeah, it's on the NAB site. Well, also what used to happen is that the Orthodox Jews would have to shut their booths down on Friday. If I remember correctly. What day do they celebrate the Sabbath? Is it? Anyway, they were always, what I always saw was that their booths would be, I think you're locked up, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, their booths would be cordoned off one day of the show. So maybe it was on a Saturday. I can't remember. And I apologize. I'm just not that familiar. So they would lose one day of the show where they're in dates, and they have a huge presence at this show. There's lots of media or equipment companies that their booths are just closed. And let me Google this. Someone's probably already told me in Facebook. Eladru to celebrate Sabbath on what day? Is it Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they do on Friday. So Friday is their Shabbat. So, um, so a few minutes before sunset on Friday until the appearance of the three stars in the sky on Saturday night. So yeah, it was Friday afternoon through Saturday that their booths would be just shut down.
Oh,
Yeah. So interesting. But
yeah.
anyway, that was, always I always just thought it was interesting. I'd walk through C or NAB and it'd be like, that booth is closed. It would be roped off. And so maybe this basically allows to have those folks have all 4 days of the show. Maybe they moved it because of that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Something weird is going on. And I'm sure I'm going to probably do something with the BEA, which is the educational side of the NAB, working with college students. So that's probably going to be a second part of what I'm going to do with that event too.
also, that broadcast booth that's been in the podcast pavilion that's run.
Yeah.
Did you know that was open to be booked? You could actually book in there.
Yeah. Yep. You can.
And
Actually, yeah. Josh was talking about that. If we wanted to do a show in there, we could.
well, he said it gets filled within 24 hours once they open up the schedule. He said, so I said, I've never seen the schedule. So make sure you send the schedule over. We'll get the word out so that podcasters that go on the show.
Right.
And, if they want to use that, they can.
Yeah, I would love to do a show in there at some point.
Yeah. And I guess we're in North Hall too. Did you know that?
Okay.
Yeah, our booths are on North Hall this year.
We're just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah,
we were in the Central last year, and now we're in North and South Hall before. I think we've been in all the halls.
Yeah, it makes it a pain to, because you're people that used to be in one place and now you're in another. So you have to re-educate everybody where you're going to be.
Right.
So anyway, that's what's kind of going on there. So, lots of events. I'm glad I'm glad we get a little bit of a break. There's not appears to be a lot of stuff going on in March. So I don't know. You probably know of 25 secret events that are going on, but
well, I know that there's some stuff going out at South by Southwest this year around music.
Yeah, I'm not going to South by.
No,
I have no plans. It's too expensive. It's just one big drunk.
It is.
And it's very, very hard to get any business done there. Very, very, very hard.
Supposedly the podcast music folks are going to be doing a lot at South by this year. So I don't know what that is going to look like or what they're actually going to do, but yeah.
All right. Well,
is anything else happening?
I don't think so. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, lots of discussions going on, but public side, I think everyone's just head down and turning and burning.
Right.
I know that our team we've been heavy into the UI UX stuff, and major changes are coming. So I'm actually very excited. I wish I could put it on the street tomorrow. To be honest with you, can't happen fast enough now for me.
I think it gets back to helping with the whole support side, right?
Yeah, and it's making things easier.
Right.
And we're moving out of a tech time to a time where the tech can't be a burden. The tech has to be easy.
It can't be a barrier to people creating
Yeah.
quality content.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think we're way past the need for that
Yeah. So it's
change to happen.
It's a time now where it's just like setting up a Twitter account. It's got to be that easy, or an Instagram account. Can't be any harder than that. And you get people started, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens here, and
And there's going to be more listening platforms come on the scene here too. So on a global scale. So it's coming.
Well, the question is what's Facebook doing? That's what I want. What do they have planned?
Yeah, I've started reaching out to them a little bit, trying to figure out what might be happening over there.
Yeah,
I don't have any news to talk about, but
of course not.
Yeah,
but time will tell what happens in the space.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it makes sense for them to get involved at a deeper level at some point. Yeah.
They've been so video driven. Little short videos and stuff that pop into your stream. I don't know, and it's hard for people now to, if I want to see something my mom's doing, I have to click on my mom's I have to, look her name up and click on her name to go to her newsfeed, because that's the only way I get to see what she's posted on Facebook. And same thing with my sister. So Facebook has really narrowed the amount of stuff that we can see from one another.
Right.
So I don't know if it's, we drive people to pages and groups, and of course, we got the New Media Show page as well. People can go over there and like and comment, but that's what I find myself doing mostly now. I find myself flipping between like 10 or 15 groups and to see what the commentary is. And then every once in a while I get lucky and see something in my news stream that's related to something I actually, I think is important, but a lot of stuff just gets buried.
Right. Well, that's what happens when there's so much discussion about a medium. It's hard to keep up with everything that's going on.
But not only that, it's, they're commercializing it. So, every third thing in the newsfeed is a commercial. So,
right.
And I have to say, some of those are pretty effective too. And Facebook's done a good job in figuring out who we are. Of course, we put our whole doggone lives on there.
Right.
And if at what point does Facebook start to become out of favor? But, they're holding their own pretty good.
That they are.
Well, I don't think, are we just dragging the show out here at this point?
Are we dragging the show? Well, I guess the IMDb of podcasting, or Chaser, I guess, hit 3 million creator credits.
What does that mean?
Platform. I guess that's just hosts and co-hosts and producers and things like that have gotten listed in Podchaser, right? I don't know. Are we even in Podchaser, Todd?
I don't know if we are. If we are, we haven't submitted anything over there. So they've got this, I've talked to those folks before, and I just haven't had the dev cycles to integrate with their platform so people can automatically shove stuff over to them.
No, but I think podcast hosts and co-hosts can create an account. Okay, I have an account on there, and it lists the show.
Yeah, but we haven't put any of our guests in any of our episode data. I think you have to submit that.
Okay, it lists the stuff that I've done on StreamYard and the New Media Show. It's got all of our episodes over there.
Well, does it list our guests? That's the part of Podchaser that's supposed to make it different. Right.
I think you have to go in and enter all that, don't you?
I think you do. I think so. But they do have an API for that, so they want people to integrate.
Right. That's true. It says add my own show appearances.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, so you can add your own too.
Right. I mean, if you have an account over there, you can go and add all the shows that you're currently involved in, right? And you can put a description for yourself, upload an image of you, and it'll pull from your podcast feed.
I don't know. What's their business model? How do they keep the lights on? They got advertising on the page, or are they charging for something?
Let's see. I don't know if they have a premium upgrade thing. I'm not seeing it.
Is it a
obvious
labor of love with those guys? I don't know.
It's build it to scale and then sell it to somebody, right? That's the usual business model, Todd.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's see here.
We are seriously a couple curmudgeons today.
We are curmudgeons. Well, we're just trying to keep up with John C. Dvorak,
Oh no, we have a long way to go. Now, by the way, did you actually listen to the No Agenda show?
I have listened to it. Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I don't think I listened to the whole thing though, because it's like 2.5, 3
Yeah,
hours
so
long.
you have to listen to the whole thing now. You got to listen to a couple of them. I know you spend some time in the car. So so what was your take?
I thought it was. I mean, I didn't think that their format was really that unusual. I thought it was just a conversational show, just like kind of like what we do.
Right.
They just happen to talk about topics that that a lot of people don't talk about. So,
But they definitely have
a revenue model,
right.
where they've got a tight relationship with their audience.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting strategy that they have with their audience to get their audience involved and engaged and donate and participate and be seen as producers, right?
Yeah. They have some folks over there that send them $1,000 a month. $1,000. Think about that. That's a serious fan.
We should be able to do that, right? Or are we just not controversial enough, Todd?
Well, we don't do a show for 3 hours and 30 minutes. It's going.
But we could.
Well, we could, but here's the thing: they keep the topic moving. They boom, 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 boom. I don't know how many clips they play per show. They probably have 40, 50 clips. They've put a lot of work into that show. It's a full-time job.
It's probably their full-time job.
It
right?
is. It is.
Yeah.
And for those of you who haven't listened to it, I don't care about your politics because they're equal opportunity smashers.
Well, it's the No Agenda show.
Yeah, it's supposed to be No Agenda. And just go listen to it once or twice. You listen, if you don't like it, but just listen to their methodology and how they have built this subscriber base. It's truly not subscriber, donation based. And every show, it's it's like this. Some shows are more, some shows is less. Start with episode 1200. If you're going to go back and go to episode 1200, listen to that episode, and just be blown away by the donation section. It's a long show. 3 hours and 30 minutes is episode 1200. It's long.
Yeah.
But first donor came in with like $1,300 or something. It's just amazing. So,
and if you don't donate,
you're a douchebag. Yeah, you're called a douchebag.
You get called out. You got to support the show.
Can you imagine us calling people out in this show that donate and calling them douchebag? Douchebag.
Well, Todd, you have a reputation for flipping people off on the show.
Well, I've only done that. No, that's demonstrative purposes of my attitude, not flipping people off in this show.
No, I know. I'm just teasing you.
So I think that it's pretty remarkable what they've done, and it's a very hard model to duplicate. I will say that you're going to have to really step your game up in a big way. I don't think solo shows can do it. I don't think a solo show can drive that type of here's a case in point. The 2,500 square feet that's directly behind this wall is now available. Sister lost the tenant that's in there. And she's like, do you want the space? And I'm thinking, I've got great space here and doing cool stuff. But what if I had an actual collaborative space next door where I could open it to creators and we could almost create like a twit type of thing, And I thought, what's that going to take money-wise, And I thought, at a minimum, just to build it, I'm going to need, a couple year commitments by people to, probably on the, probably like $5,000 a month, a minimum to build it, just to build it and get it open, staff it. I might be able to do it for $2,500 on the cheap and then, over the time, but, I have to come up with a plan. And if I'm going to try to get my audience to support it, then, it's another big commitment. So, I kind of thought about this in my, I'm talking on Geek News Central, and then I had a listener came back and they said, hey, if you're serious about this, tell us what you're going to do and what the plan is, and then we can decide if we want to support. Because to me, the guy said, it sounds like you're just asking for money. And I thought, oh yeah, it is. It does sound like I'm just asking for money. And so should I count on listeners to bankroll something that would be they may not get direct, direct. They're not
Benefit from, right.
direct benefit from, right?
Right.
And I said, yeah, you're right. I'm being a little selfish. I'm, dreaming about something cool. And it could really start something that would be interesting. But again, I'm asking my tech audience to, help me fund all that. And then, what do they get out of it, really? And, they support this show, my Geek News Central show with some donations. And, that helps pay the electric bill and writers and stuff like that. So I think that, what Adam and Dave have done is a completely different situation. They're not looking at trying to open up creator space. They're looking to feed their family and survive and have a non-advertised based show.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a cool model for sure.
It is.
And,
it is.
And you could easily copy it and be called a copycat. Matter of fact, there's a new program. They were joking about it. It's on. It's on Fox, and it's something no agenda, and they're like, "Oh my God, someone's using our name."
So if you took their model, their donation model, and you replicate it on your show, is that a form of plagiarism?
No.
Can you not do that?
Well, I'll give them full credit stealing it, and I partly stole it already, a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the Geek News Central Insider Program.
Okay.
But I don't have
a slight change to it.
Yeah, right. But I don't have knights, and barons and stuff like that. So
you could.
I could. But so it's recognizing people at different level. They don't even acknowledge. If someone gives them $50, they name and location only is the only acknowledgement they get. 50 and under don't even get mentioned. Someone sends me $50, I'm gonna be like, hey Tony or Sue, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for the $50.
Yeah,
they're $50 and under. If it's $49.99, you don't even get mentioned on the show. you
probably even get trash.
How
come you didn't send more?
No, they acknowledge them and they thank them, and it's some of them people are doing it on a layaway plan to get their knighthood or some
layaway plan.
Well, it is. People pay their way in to getting their $1,000 worth of donations to get their knight ring and be knighted one of the Knights of the Round Table. And that's hey, you guys are laughing. This is what they do, and it's very, very effective. They have a ceremony and everything. So, did you get to hear it? Did you get to hear a ceremony?
I didn't listen far enough.
You have to listen through the donation cycle to the point where they have 2 donation segments and where they actually knight people and the actual pulling of swords.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it got better music and everything. And of course Adam Curry and his fantastic vocals does just an incredible job, and it's also part of his personality that drives the show too. So
right.
I think a lot of that has to do with personality. You have to have a personality on a podcast, because if you are just boring,
right? Yeah.
Mike Dell did a demo for us the other day, and while it was good, I kind of was like, Mike, need a little more energy.
I'll put a
little more energy, and there's a couple things that it did a little, he said, okay, I'll record it. And the second one was much better, so.
That's good.
But yeah, sometimes podcasters need to get up and do some jumping jack.
Right.
Before we started the show today, I was feeling pretty bad. I was like, oh, I don't want to be here.
Put a smile on your face is what I always say.
Yeah, right? You got to motivate yourself.
Right. So are we going to be back on Saturday the 1st?
Yeah.
February?
I'm here. Yep.
All right. We can do that.
I leave for Columbus Monday morning and get back Friday night.
Okay. Well, then we'll be here. I'll try and get Mr. Pocket Cast.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So I'll try and get him going for the 1st.
Yeah, that'd be cool to have them on.
Have Owen on the program.
Yeah. That'd be a cool discussion, because the question I want to know is how are they navigating their owner relationship?
Right. They're owned by NPR.
Right.
Or National Public Media might be the.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So just curious on how that relationship has been, and a couple other things I talked about. Rad.
Well, and he's former iHeartRadio too. I mean, he ran the podcasting area before the current incumbent is over there.
So Pocket Cast must be doing okay financially.
Well, they've got some pockets behind them. Right?
Yeah. Well, or is it? Well, we can ask him.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He can tell us.
Sure.
Tell us more than we can.
Or opt not to.
Right. It's his option.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. If you have some ideas on things we should cover, let us know. Oh, Mike said Red Bull. And Mike was listening. He said "ha" when I talked about him. Also,
I hope they sponsor the show because their logo's behind you all the time.
Yeah. Know? So this is what we could do. You want to sponsor the show? We've got some prime real estate here, video wise. So yeah. Well, hey, we're not up against having a sponsor. So
right. Or donations.
Some sponsor we may have to charge more depending on the company.
Really now?
Well, I don't know if we could take podcasters, but to be frank with you, if a podcast hosting company and wants a sponsor, that's going to be expensive. It's going to be very expensive. Yeah. Okay, Rob. We would both be fired if we did a host endorsed ad for company X hosting company.
Exactly.
We'd both
imagine if we did an ad for Podbean.
Oh my God.
Or Buzzsprout.
We would be the former founder of Blueberry and the former vice president for deals of Libsyn. We would be both.
Right. Be out the door.
So if you're a podcaster, that might work. If you want to be a sponsor of the show. And we're shills, so we're cheap. So come up with a price.
Speak for yourself, Todd. Not cheap.
Okay. Well, considering that we've had our Matriarch donator here has given a total of $50 this show, and she is we and we've got a few $2 or $3 or $5 ones before, but yeah. You want this space? Price it out. And for those of you listening, I'm pointing at the new media show banner below.
So you're not talking about my forehead to put the ad on?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. We'll have to probably put something in there, some sort of, so there isn't brand confusion. People would say it'd have to be a flashing ad or something. I don't know. But
well, I think already we should pursue ad deals with the Star Wars franchise, Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
And
Thor.
Then all those little movie figurines on your counter there.
The Minions.
The Minions.
Yeah, Minions.
Those could be our 3 sponsors of the new media show right there.
I don't watch cartoons. I don't
either.
But I'll be honest with you. The Minions, I die. That's the exception to the rule. I'm on the floor crying when I see movies with Minions. It's
a sensitive spot for you, huh, Todd?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why, but Minions crack me up. It's just and when you can make a guy that always is like poo-pooing cartoons, and when something with the Minions is on, and you're like, I got to go see it. But you got to.
I went and saw the new Star Wars movie.
Finally,
I know I'm a little late to the party.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's all right.
I'm not a big critic of they should have done this or done that, or they left this plot open, or they
There's really not a lot of dialogue in that movie. I noticed. There's a lot of flashing lights and lightning and lasers flying around.
Yeah. It's
I think we
okay.
need to get off the air, Todd. What do you think?
Yes, we do. We get out of here. Everyone, thanks for being here.
Okay.
Todd at blueberry.com, at Geek News on Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter at Rob Greenlee, and that's with 2 E's. And I've got robgreenlee.com. And if you want to send me an email, anything to do with podcasting, send it to robg@libsyn.com.
And here's the beauty. It's a podcast. We can do whatever we want. And we may lose you.
And we do whatever we want.
Yeah, and we may lose you, but thanks for being here if you hung out to the end. And help us keep the lights on. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time here on the New Media Show at newmediashow.com.
Bye.